There is a lot to unpack in this video. What's up, pups? How you guys doing? I'm doing great, thanks for asking. I lost my voice over the weekend because I was at Playlist Live and I'm still recovering from that. Also, saw Avengers Infinity War Thursday night before going to Playlist Live, and it was just very hard to like see that in like a couple hours and like have to like process that through the weekend while also doing other things. It was a lot. We're gonna talk about Avengers Infinity War, and I'm letting you guys know now, this will have spoilers, so please, I do not want to be the person that spoils this for you. If you have not seen the film, do not watch this video. Favorite it, you can add it to your watch later playlist, do whatever you need to do, but don't watch it if you haven't seen the film. Please don't do that to yourself. Don't let me be the scapegoat for you getting spoiled. Just avoid this video like the plague until you've seen the movie. With that being said, you've been warned. We're going into this now. Spoilers full ahead. Where to even start? This was just full. Like, it was full, you guys. It was full. The first thing that I will say is that I initially was very confused when the movie started because we open with seeing the death of essentially every single Asgardian, and Loki, I can't even talk about it because that was such a rough death to watch. Like, that was rough. You guys, that was rough. I did not see Thor Ragnarok in theaters, so I didn't actually get to see any of the post-credit scenes because I saw it on an airplane and they didn't play the post-credit scenes. So I was initially a little confused because where I left off with Thor Ragnarok was just seeing them board the ship and leave. I didn't actually get to see the post-credit scene where Thanos comes up on their ship. I did, however, look it up after the movie because I was confused, so now it makes sense, but initially I was like, what happened here? Loki's death was real difficult to deal with, in my opinion. I feel like Loki has always been one of my favorite characters, and I know a lot of people say that. A lot of people love Loki, but there's something very Slytherin about Loki, and it's not just like the green that he wears. Like, he's just so cunning and ambitious and has every trait of a Slytherin, so it's hard for me not to love him. But that was a really difficult and graphic death to witness, especially 5-10 minutes into the film. That was hard. So that kind of set me up to view the rest of the movie like, this is just gonna be like a crapshoot. Like, it's gonna be so hard to watch, it's gonna be so hard to deal with, and I was not wrong. I mean, you guys know this movie moves at like the quickest of paces. It's just like every second something happens. After seeing the film, I put out on Twitter my 2 pieces of advice when it came to seeing this movie. Number 1, avoid the internet until you see it. And number 2, do not eat or drink anything because you cannot take any bathroom breaks. Things happened so quickly and it's very easy to miss something. Overall, I thought the movie was really good, even though it left me with a lot of emotions and questions and confusion. But now that I've had a couple days to kind of work through that, I kind of feel like I answered some of my own questions. The main question being, Doctor Strange just handed off the time gem, and that really upset me. So in the moment when he did it, I was upset, but then it occurred to me like, oh, this must be for a reason, because he mentioned that he had seen 14 million outcomes and only one outcome had them walking away and winning, which I feel like as a movie creator, like 14 million is a lot, and with there supposedly being infinite parallels and infinite outcomes, why would you say there's specifically 14 million and only one? Like, I don't know, that, I get it was supposed to be an impactful statement, but like that just, if you're already in the fantasy realm, if you're already dealing with fantasy reality in the Marvel Universe, do you see, like, it didn't fit. But I get that he handed off the gem to Thanos because what I'm assuming is the only reality where they would win is Thanos getting his hands on that time stone beforehand, or at that moment in time. So, especially because as he faded away, he said it had to be this way to Tony. So that makes sense, I guess, but really none of this movie made sense. Thanos is probably by far, yeah, definitely by far, my most favorite villain in the Marvel Universe. He is so crazy. Like, I'm trying to think of a way that I can explain, but there's just something about a villain that is so inherently insane that they truly believe that what they are doing is not evil, but like for the betterment of the world. Like, that's just like next level insanity. To me, what makes a really great villain is to have a character that is already super evil, even though they think they might not be evil, and they do something else and something else, and it keeps pushing the character to these limits where you're like, well, geez, like, can they get any worse, like, as a person or as a creature? I don't mean worse as a character, I mean worse as like a villain. And I think that's what makes them great. This will be my second Harry Potter reference in this video now, but the only other villain that I can equate Thanos to from the Harry Potter universe would be Umbridge, because she is so just twisted and sick, and she's the best villain, in my opinion, in the Harry Potter universe, because she comes across like she thinks she's doing everything. It's her way, and like it's so believable. And I appreciate villains like Thanos and like Umbridge. And so I really like Thanos. He's a character that I love to hate, and I love when I can hate a character like that. So let's chat really quick about Gamora and the Soul Stone. There were context clues that we got earlier in the film where Gamora said, "If Thanos gets me, kill me. I can't tell you why, but you have to kill me." That was a pretty obvious context clue that Gamora would have something to do with the Soul Stone, or know where the Soul Stone was, or know how to get it. But this is where I got a little confused though. Obviously she knows A, how Thanos can get the Soul Stone, or B, that he will use her to try to get the Soul Stone. Unfortunately, we don't know exactly what she knew, but I was confused because she knew enough to tell Peter to kill her, and then when they got to the mountain and she was almost taunting Thanos because he didn't love anyone, or so she thought, it was almost like she like had like a 180 realization. And so I was confused because it seemed like if you piece the two together, like the mountain and what she said to Peter, it should have been that she knew that he could get the Soul Stone because he cared about her. Like, I don't know. So I was a little confused that she seemed so shocked that Thanos essentially admitted that he cared for her, that he loved her. So that was a little weird to me. Also, third reference, Voldemort and a Dementor were in this film. Yeah, why? The Squidward reference was real funny when they made a couple jokes, like the Grimace joke and the Squidward joke. Like, that was awesome. I love when they take things in real life and like bring it in. It just makes it feel so much more realistic, even though it's not a realistic movie. I think you know what I mean. That guy, that dude totally looked like Voldemort. I don't remember his name. And also, what was with Red Skull as a Dementor? Like, that threw me off. Like, I'll admit, like, I was pretty excited to see Red Skull. Not that I'm ever excited to see Nazis, because that's really weird, but just the fact that we haven't seen Red Skull in so long, and we never truly understood what happened to him, it's just cool that we got, like, they brought it back around and we got to kind of see what happened. But it also makes me wonder, like, is there something even greater than Thanos trying to harness the power of all these gems? Like, so is there something that exists, something godlike in the Marvel universe, where when Red Skull tried to harness the power of one of the Infinity Stones, he got sent to this mountain, and now he has to essentially be the guard, be like the gateway keeper for anyone else who's trying to come and get this stone. So, but who would put him there? Like, what in the universe would appoint him into that position, would force him to do that? So it makes me start to wonder, like, what is the overall godlike thing? It's just something to think about. I mean, maybe I'm like getting too far deep into it, or maybe there is something that exists out there that has been talked about or spoken on, and I just haven't read it or seen it yet, but that was something that stuck out to me as well. Speaking of Gamora, when Peter Quill lost his shit on Thanos for murdering her, I got so upset. I mean, it's one of those things where you know what's gonna happen. Like, it would have been too easy for them to get that glove off of him. Of course they would take it to that moment where they almost had the glove off and then Peter Quill has to punch him in the face. Of course they would. Because why wouldn't they? Because this is a Marvel movie and they want to make us suffer. I got real sad at that Maria Hill and Nick Fury ending credit scene. It It made me super, super sad, especially when Nick Fury disappeared. It also made me concerned for my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. babies. I love them so much. I know that they haven't really made an appearance yet in, like, from the show. I mean, like, when the show started, they haven't really made that big of an appearance yet, but it made me sad because I was just like, oh my gosh, my Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. babies. But with Captain Marvel and her time travel ability, I'm assuming that's gonna be something that will happen in the next movie. Maybe. Something else that I thought was really interesting was the dynamic of the Vision and Scarlet Witch. Obviously, Wanda and the Vision fall in love in the comics too, so this is nothing out of the ordinary. But having her have to kill the Vision and then watch him die at the hands of Thanos directly after was like so messed up. And then the fact that Thanos just like pats her on the head and he's like, my child. And you know that's only because he clearly likes powerful women. Gamora was a fighter, and I'm sure he views Scarlet Witch as a fighter as well, because let's be honest, Scarlet Witch is the most powerful Avenger. Thor might be the strongest. Scarlet Witch is the most powerful. Don't at me on this. I'm correct. Don't even get me started on that lackluster disappearance of Bucky. That made me so sad. I was so angry. I was of the mindset that Captain America would be one of the first to go in this film, so I'm very shocked that I was incorrect on that. And just the fact that we have Bucky shout Steve's name and then just like falls and disappears was just the most sad, heart-wrenching thing. The only time that I cried in this film, because I went into it thinking I would cry quite a bit, the only time I cried was when Spider-Man was begging for his life. That was so hard to watch. I don't think that anyone with any amount of emotion in their body could not at least feel that tickle of tears. Do you know what I mean? Like that tickle in your throat where you're like, oh God, oh God. Because that was real sad, you guys. Like that was just like, that was like Marvel stabbing us and then twisting it. Like that was rough. Anyway, listen, I could talk about this for hours. I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of things. This movie is a lot to unpack. It's a lot to go through. So I want to do something a little different this time. This is essentially part one of my reaction. What I want to do is have a part two, and I want to make it a Q&A. So in the comments of this video, if there's anything specifically that you want my opinion on from this film, leave it in a comment. You can ask me questions about certain scenes or how I felt about certain characters. Do that all down below. Leave the comments. Don't worry, I'm going to pin a comment on the top that says this is full of spoilers, don't come down here. I want to make sure that like no one gets spoiled. But yes, leave a comment down below, and then what I will do in a few days is go through the comments and I will answer as many as I can in the part two of my reaction to Infinity War. So yeah. All right, get to commenting, and I will see you guys in a few days with another video. Bye, everybody.